Mountain Brook native fights to marry computer. Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. The Mountain Brook man, who has made national headlines over the years for filing several federal lawsuits regarding his desire to marry his computer, said he is on a mission to preserve the integrity of the Constitution. Mark Chris Sevier filed a lawsuit in Alabama's Northern District last month, stating his rights, along with several ex-gay co-plaintiffs, were violated by Governor Kay Ivey, Attorney General Steve Marshall, and Blount County Probate Judge Chris Green because Sevier's marriage to an Apple computer, which he claimed to marry in New Mexico, was not recognized in Blount County. In the filing, Sevier claimed he married an object in New Mexico with female-like features and asked Green to either recognize the union or issue him a new marriage license. Quote, Defendant Green issues marriage licenses to individuals who self-identify as homosexual, but he refuses to issue marriage licenses to zoophiles, machinists, and polygamist license on a basis that can only be described as procedurally arbitrary, the complaint states. The Mountain Brook native told reporters he still partially lives in Alabama, but spends time in Paris, New York, D.C., and Hollywood. He attended Vanderbilt University for his undergraduate degree in politics and also attended Vanderbilt University Law School. He said he then ran a record company in Tennessee, was an officer in the U.S. military, and worked in overseas humanitarian cases. Sevier said he now works on federal litigation involving human trafficking and child exploitation and writes bills from those lawsuits for politicians to sponsor. He also works as a Christian electronic dance music writer and vocalist. Quote, I'm on a lot of different missions, he said. Sevier said his lawsuits regarding his marriage to a computer all stem from the belief that if gay marriages are legal, a person should be able to legally marry a machine, like his computer. Sexual orientation is not civil rights. We are absolutely defending the integrity of the civil rights movement, he said about his lawsuit. Quote, you can't identify as anything you want to, have as many wedding ceremonies as you want, but the federal government shouldn't recognize it. Sevier said when asked to describe his position on the issue, he called gay marriage a charade and a parody marriage, and said if the federal government recognizes gay marriage, then it must recognize other parody marriages of machinists, zoophiles, and polygamists. But Sevier said he does believe that parody marriages are religious in nature. It takes a true amount of faith to truly believe a man can marry a man, to believe that is a true marriage. It takes a lot of faith to believe that's true. When asked if he was a Christian, Sevier replied, that doesn't matter, he said. What I personally believe does not matter at all. What does matter, he said, is what Sevier and his supporters believe the Constitution allows. He maintains that his arguments are based solely on indisputable evidence. The former Eagle Scout discussed the difference in marriages that are secular and marriages that are not, and which should be permitted under the law. The attorney is no stranger to law himself. According to the Daily Beast, Sevier has been previously charged with stalking and harassing both county star John Rich and a 17-year-old girl. He also pushed for pornography taxes in 13 states. The website also reported Sevier was wanted earlier this year for failure to appear at criminal contempt proceedings. He has also previously failed to pay child support and violated a restraining order put in place for his ex-wife. That restraining order stemmed from Sevier's 2011 conviction for assaulting his father-in-law during a fight over visitation rights of his then 7-month-old son, whom Sevier tried to take during a supervised visit. The baby was injured in the fight. It was taken to the emergency room, the Daily Beast reported. Sevier doesn't seem too bothered by the news, though. He said, publicity about arrests or failing litigations is all fake. He called himself a target for bullies and said, it's all an effort to stop me. I just let that roll off of me. I'm not going to let that stop me. Several other people have joined in on Sevier's lawsuit, who are described in court records as ex-gays. Those people, Sevier said, left the lifestyle, became Christians, and now speak about against homosexuality. Their testimonies at conferences nationwide are damaging to gay rights, he said. Seviers doesn't oppose people who believe they are gay, but said he believes the federal government should not recognize those unions as legal marriages. About 95% of his latest lawsuit focuses on that theory, he said, and not on his marriage to a computer. It's just like the people. I'm going to leave that out. Green, the judge mentioned in the lawsuit, said neither Sevier nor the co-plaintiff made the request in person, but instead called inquiry about getting the licenses. I just said I wouldn't do that in Blount County. No way, no how. Green's office began issuing same-sex marriage license after U.S. Supreme Court ruling, but state law does not grant him the authority to issue polygamous licenses or marriage license for people seeking to wed an inanimate object, he said. Sevier stated several times that emotions should not be a factor into the lawsuit and that judges often use their emotions as a basis for rulings. Quote, "We're not here to prove or disprove whether a person who lives a homosexual lifestyle is living a wise lifestyle." He said he also believes legalized gay marriages are licensed to infiltrate public schools to indoctrinate minors to their world view. Sevier said his focus on the lawsuit is to show the marriage laws in Alabama and mostly across the nation is unconstitutional and to change that. Quote, "We definitely do not think we are morally superior to anyone," he said. Now, as funny as that sounds, the comments you can imagine are far superiorly funny. Here we have Peter, quote unquote. I don't know if that was a play on words or not. It's tempting to dismiss this man as a radical or crackpot, but I know firsthand the shame of society's scorn. You see, I was married briefly to a Kenmore 19 cubic foot side-by-side frost-free refrigerator in the 90s. My family disapproved and wouldn't give us their blessing. We were forbidden to marry in the church, for our love was taboo. Ultimately, we eloped to a Mexican border town where we were secretly wed and lived for a time in blissful matrimony. Sadly, the marriage came unraveled and ended in divorce after about a year, despite my best efforts to hold it together. Because, you see, my bride was frigid. Then we have Doc, who says he uses that computer when and how he wants, and it has no say in how he treats it. That is not love. If he is allowed to marry it, and it outlives him, does it inherit his estate? Would he be required to keep an extended warranty on it as a healthcare plan? Would he be required a court order to pull the plug on it? Will he have to pay for a divorce and go through division of property if he ever decides to use a different computer as his primary computing partner? So many questions. Now, we have this topic who says, answer this before you dismiss Mr. Sevier. Do androids dream of electric sheep? This cat is so far ahead of the curve, he's from the future. Then we have Vernon Messer, who says, quote, Sevier filed the lawsuit in Alabama Northern District last month, stating his rights along with several ex-gay co-plaintiffs. End quote. After SCOTUS legalized gay marriage, I knew it would be only a matter of time when a deviant would want to marry his donkey, dog, horse, or cow. Marrying a machine? Why not? The slippery slope of debauchery, decadence, and hedonism is becoming a steeper decline. Now, this lady tries to counter Mr. Vernon Messer. Her name is Labasit, and here she says, you people either did not read the article or have a problem with reading comprehension. He clearly does not want to marry his computer. He is making a point that if the government recognizes gay marriages, then they have to recognize all other types of marriages that the real weirdos want, like marrying cars, blow-up dolls, sofas, and animals. He's trying to shine a light on the nonsense He's not really part of the nonsense. But he is using this idea to get people to recognize that the government does not have the right to change the definition of marriage that has been the definition for thousands of years. And in bold capital letters, she ends with, "Geez." Then we have Markin TX. I'm going to assume it's a he, right? I'm going to assume his gender. And he starts with, "Sigh. I see so many coming out in this forum that I'm compelled to come out too. Yes, I'm in love with my Black & Decker FP6010 performance food processor. There, I said it. I feel like I have a giant weight has been lifted off my soul. I know that you're thinking, haters, but I love my B&D FP6010. It's my unbridled passion. Why? Well, wouldn't you be into B&D too if you had the chance? Of course you would. I love it because it dices. Yes, amazing, huh? I thought you so too when we first met about a year ago at Macy's. Yes, I initially paid for B&D services, but I took it to a good home. No, just because I keep her in my kitchen all the time is not misogyny, Hillary, hater. Sorry, I don't know what came over me. I seemed to a bit chippy, knowing that my life was being shredded. It was really grating on me, no matter how you slice and dice it. My B&D FP6010, well, we're not an inseparable blended couple. You should be happy for us. But no, you try to tear us apart with your hate. We don't hear you. We're too busy whipping up our favorite Italian wedding soup to worry about your hatred of our lifestyle. P.S. B&D FP6010 loves it when I touch her buttons. It turns her on. So now we have Jason Foster and his hater. We're going to read Jason Foster first. He says, so by his logic, if he purposely breaks his computer or throws a coffee cup against the wall in anger, then he should be arrested for attempted murder. And his hater, True Q, says he wouldn't, because that's part of the point. Other laws aren't subject to the spectacle of emotionally driven motivations that supports gay marriage. It still isn't murder because a person doesn't die. Why should the definition of murder be changed because a group of people have a particular belief? The same should be said for marriage. That doesn't destroy the ability to enjoy companionship, but should that companionship be marriage when it is procedurally arbitrary? And we have Mr. Beveridge, who says, this clown obviously has some deep-seated motherboard issues. And Peter responded, happy now? You've made me blow coffee out of my nose. Damn you! 5 points, Joe says, quote, not tonight, Chris. I have a virus. We have Big SS, who says, ah, yes, gay marriage. How would the marital arrangement with a computer be any more injurious to society than gay marriage? One can play house and pretend that your relationship resembles the most important foundation of our country, the family. But it is still a charade. And he ends with, we used to know that. Actually, I think Big SS is a woman. It has a woman's profile thing. Then we have Alliance, who says, there's no such thing as a gay marriage. Just because some vile, disgusting, godless state writes an illegal joke ordinance saying you can do it means absolutely nothing. Theirs isn't the law. It's a sham joke that God says we are to ignore and refuse, not comply with. So we don't, contrary to their sick, twisted ways and beliefs. No, they aren't married. Then the Shelley Hava, who has a butterfly with the U.S. flag painting the wings, says ROFL. Ex-gay? That would make it like an addiction. Ex-smoker, ex-gambler, ex-drug addict. And then Thin Gray Lion says, and yet, those people exist. What about diversity? Is there no room in our society for ex-LGBT, XYZ? Aerosols? Wow, just figured that out by yourself, did you? All sex except rape is a choice. You can choose not to every time, which is the big deal for a lot of people talking about out of wedlock children. Nobody forced you to have an out of wedlock children, and if you have no idea what an how out of wedlock children come about, then either you're uneducated or you're trying to confuse the issue. Big SS also says, I consider myself very tolerant. I could care less what commitments two consenting adults want to make with each other or what they wish to do in the bedroom. The rub is, no pun intended, I assume, and it is a huge rub. For many, it will never remain within the relationship. You will have the liberal teacher trying to construct impressionable minds the glories of homosexuality. You will have the female teacher trying to explain to the 13-year-old that the student is a woman of woman, and the teacher just happens to be a woman of women. I have witnessed that. You will have the homosexuals within the church to change and bend to homosexuality. You will have a homosexual protesting that her marriage and family is every bit as important as a heterosexual marriage, which is laughable on the surface of it. And then the family itself begins to degrade to a joke, as, after all, it can be anything. Then there's the Hollywood media throwing up in your face the beauty of homosexuality in the movies and television. In many states, they are now asking students as young as 7 or 8 what gender they wish to be. Yep, a kind of fascism that we all know is craziness, but choose not to call it what it is. This and similar things will be our demise, and once this culture is cooked, it will never come back short of great pain or perhaps 1,000 years of darkness. Hey, that's racist. Oh, Caleb asks, so what kind of computer does he want to marry? Or is it one of those really sexy purple Macintosh computer Apple used to make? Or one of those ugly aluminum ones that they make now? Also, if it comes with Siri installed, does that make if a menage a trois? Cuthbert J. Twilly says, I knew lawsuits like this would be coming after SCOTUS legalized, quote, gay marriages. But they'd be serious lawsuits, not like this parody one just to prove a point. And he just may get lucky if he files in a liberal federal district and gets a far-left Obama-appointed judge who hates American values, our Constitution, our laws, and who loves making new law from the bench. Mike Herman responds, Ninth Circus, anybody? My law school professor is on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. John Poland 538 says, is he planning to tickle her digits with his digit? Just wondering. And will the computer have to be turned on to enjoy his foreplay, or does he have to plug it in first? So no foreplay at all. John McGee says, and why not? Liberals opened Pandora's when they came up with the concept of marriage equality to defend gay marriage. If they are consistent, then they must allow all forms of marriage, including polygamy for Muslim men and certain Mormon sects, and all definitions of marriage people want to decide for themselves. Also, I'm not a liberal. I'm all for this young man marrying his computer, and so should all liberals. Marriage equality must mean exactly what it says. What do you all think of this man marrying his computer? Is it a travesty? Is it unjust? Do you think this is frivolous? Do you think he has a point? Tune in next time to the Shakaama Live Show and leave your comment below. Like the video, leave a thumbs up for this funniness.